Sanibonani, Dumelang. My name is Dynamite Nyalungu, and I call myself the leadership that led the leader to the leading lead. Welcome to yet another installment of Dynamite Unmasked, and this is a series of videos where I get to dissect very uncomfortable topics. And today is no different, and I'll be talking about toxic femininity in the context of romantic relationships. Yeah, and I'll use myself as a reference so that some of the things that I talk about at least get to make sense. I give you context, nyana. So yeah, let's get on top of it. I've seen that one of the most difficult relationships to establish or to get into has to be the relationship that comes right after a toxic one. And I'm not sure about whether the period between those two matters or not. Because not only are you living a toxic relationship, you are living that as someone who is broken, as someone who needs to work on themselves, as someone who needs to re empower themselves, just to get back to your normal self, who you were before the relationship, although you can never really be the exact replica of it, but you just need to get familiar with yourself again as an individual outside of the relationship. So it's that, and on top of that, while in pursuit of empowering yourself again and being confident again, working on your self esteem, yourself, your body, and everything, there are certain mechanisms that you adopt as coping mechanisms. And some of these things become very toxic to the next relationship. And there's nothing wrong with you having to be empowering yourself and being an independent woman and you glowing after a breakup. Those things that happen to us ladies after a breakup. There's nothing wrong with that. But in my story, I got to see that I've adopted things, I've normalized things that in the next relationship after the toxic one were a problem. And these, at the time when I was still working on myself, there were coping mechanisms. There were things that kept me sane, that felt right, that, were things that I was like, yeah, I'm happy to do. They kept me occupied as well. But then getting into another relationship, it was tricky, right? It was tricky. So when you empower yourself, I'm a reader. So for me, empowering myself post a breakup was going to read. Yes, we had your gyms, your girls' night outs, and everything, but I'm a reader at heart. So I read very powerful books about relationships, about what you expect, what. And I think books are a trap. And I'll explain because I've also written it down where I want to put this thing. Books are a trap in a sense that you are now occupied with this character. You are occupying your mind with this character that's doing everything in this particular book. Right. So for me, the book that I got exposed to, it was a book that showed me the mistakes that I made, which I really appreciated. And at first it was very offensive because remember, I do these things in a relationship thinking it's right, and they feel right, but these are the mistakes that I got to see where actually, nah, this is not right. This is not good. Okay, and you allowed this to happen, it's not good. You kind of reduced yourself to what it's not good, right? And then this book also further gave me solutions. Instead of doing this, do this. Instead of doing this, do this, right? And then this book also gave me different scenarios of how the person you're doing this for or the person you're in a relationship with would most likely react, you know the trap with books is you are following this character, you're occupied with this character from the front page to the back page, from the front cover to the back cover. You are reading, you are indulging in everything, and then you think you have it all. Because now you finished the book, you think now, now I'm so tired, they can't deal with me again. Hey, wara. The problem is that mentality. Because yes, you will have your standards, you'll have your deal breakers, you'll have your anything, everything, and it's good to have those, and it's good to be aware of what you want and know how to state it and be, articulate of it. But it's also good to acknowledge the fact that you are dealing with human beings, right? You are not dealing with the character in that book. Remember, that character was chosen Whether or not it was a lived character, we can never really tell if the author made this character from someone he saw or someone he made up fiction or, But you're not going to deal with that character. You're dealing with another human being who will not even, may not even react the same way that the character has been reacting. So you realized you finished the book and thought you had it all, and thought you knew it all, and thought, nothing can go wrong from this. So what happens is, because you know how the book ends, you know what to look forward to. You know the ultimate goal. Okay, things should be like this. But when you encounter someone, that's not where they are. When you encounter someone, you forget that you will have to go through you guys being different. You'll have to go through you guys having imperfections that are going to reveal themselves in different scenarios. But because you occupied your mind so much with this character, you are forcing a human being to conform to that character, and the things that you're doing, the steps that you learn from the book, you expect them to react the same way as the character. That's the trap of the book. It's a trap. Because we are not saying not know what to want, but we are saying if you have a microbus, is it a microbus? Yeah, if you have a microbus and you want a convertible is your ultimate goal. You need to first deal with the fact that at this current moment, I have a microbus. You get what I'm saying? So don't dismiss what you currently have and with the work that needs to be done here in order for us to get there. So this is what a lot of us do. And this is because we finish the book, we get to the happy ending of the book, we feel excited, you feel like you're a new woman and everything. But when you get into another relationship, you realize this is a human being, And in my age, let's say I end up with a 22-year-old, or 22, 23, 24, because I'm turning 21 this year. This is a person who, whatever that you may see as a red flag or I don't like that, is something that they grew up thinking is right. I mean, 24 years of their lives, you were not there. You come in and then you think that will be changed in 2 weeks. You understand? So part of being into now a new relationship is also seeing that you are dealing with a human being who's imperfect. And in them being imperfect, them being a human being, they consist of values, they consist of behaviors, they consist of everything and every other thing that may not match yours the way you want it to. And because you're not willing to talk it through, you are not willing to work with it, you are so obsessed with the final product, the convertible, you dismiss every good thing, every other good thing that this person does. And that's why I'm saying books are a trap. We're not saying don't read these things. They're very good materials, trust me. But don't set your expectations in accordance to a character's reaction to what the author is suggesting. Because that character is not the person you are dealing with. That character is not your boyfriend. Right? So one of the things also that make you then question is you come from a toxic relationship, entering a new one, and everything seems too good to be true. There are certain things that a toxic relationship normalizes, and you think that's how everything should be. And then now here's this person who teaches you different things, who praises you. Number one, you don't feel like you need to prove yourself. Who acknowledges that you are very beautiful. People who are doing everything right by the book. But because you're so used to having things done wrong and you settled for that, you question it. You are looking for the catch. It can't be perfect. Well, what's the catch? There should be a catch here. You realize. So you are having a good thing, but because of your past, you are failing to recognize the goodness in this thing because it's too good to be true. Well, now you're used to things being wrong. Nah, man, by this time we should have fought. So what's happening? You see? So you end up then looking for actively looking for red flags, and you miss out on the green flags. And that's how it is also. You go to social media, red flags. I think I've also said it somewhere in my videos that you look for red flags. Number one, you address it. If it fails to be addressed, I still hold that view. But I look at society and realize that, we have a lot to say about red flags and nothing to say about green flags. the good that people do, yeah, the good feeling that they give you, we tend to dismiss that because we are looking for red flags. So it sort of seems like we are expecting for this thing to fail. It can't be, it can't be straight, this thing. There should be a catch. And that's toxic because that means you are already expecting this person not to fulfill you or to reach your expectations, to meet your demands, your standards and everything. When they don't, you cry. When they do, you question. You see the toxicity in that? That's what we do as females. And you have that, and you fail to understand that relationships are different. Remember what I said about the convertible, looking forward to the convertible, the final product? You take other people's final product and you want to match. Yeah, you want to compare it to the dynamics of your relationship. I've done it myself, where I was like, nah, man, why are these people constant communicators? And you look at the relationships around you where you see that, okay, these ones are always together. Oh, these ones go on date. Oh, these ones. And you're like, can't hear what's happening. I'm going to get WhatsApp texts only. But you forget to understand, to realize that the dynamics of relationships are different, especially when it's a long distance relationship and you're comparing yourself with people who live near each other. Am I making sense? So what would then be regarded as quality time for you and for them is totally different things. And because this thing sounds or may look to be too good to be true, the little mistakes become exacerbated to you. Because remember, you're actively looking for red flags. So this thing is happening and maybe you are like, "Ay man, I'm not sure with this guy." And you raise it to him in a way. You don't raise it directly that you are not sure. You are just highlighting, hinting. You ask unnecessary questions just so he says something. You are hoping that he falls into the trap of, here's the catch. You are looking forward to that moment. And there are guys who pick up that and they're like, okay, she needs assurance. Let me assure her. And they give you that. They assure you really well. I believe you are who you are to the world and who you are to your partner. So there's a certain understanding that you will have with your partner that you guys will not have with other people. I don't know if maybe it happens with me alone. Like the language that you have. If you've been in a relationship, man, Nale baby, we talk like this and no one is going to get this. And because you have that, they'll assure you, they'll do everything in their power, poor guys, to try and show you, Uguti, I'm in it for real. I'm in it for real. And that is where perhaps you start lowering your guard down because you understand this person. And you having to understand this person in that level makes you now feel safe. Okay, fine. I think there's nothing to worry about. He's assured me. Now I think I can let the poor guy breathe and everything. Poor guy doesn't answer your WhatsApp text for one day. You get so worked up. And then you do the very same thing I was talking about. Compare yourself with other people. You now talk to your girls. Yeah, she did it. He didn't do this and this and this and this. Where's Pat Chomi? He did it after saying this and this. So he was claiming he's not living up to his experience, his word of saying that he's in it for reals. And you say that to someone who doesn't know the person the way you do. The assurance you got, the feeling you got, the safe feeling you got from that assurance is foreign to that person. Because remember, you can only get it because you understand that person in a specific way. Now you are telling a neutral person who will advise you the way she sees the world, he or she sees the world. They don't have that experience. So you are dismissing the fact that this person will never ever know or feel what I felt when this guy was assuring me. And in the absence of that, you still want a good advice from that person. And because you are coming to the girl or the boy, the friend, you are so worked up and everything. They don't like seeing their friends like that. They will tell you whatever they think is good, to assure to be on your side. I mean, it's natural for them to want to be on your side. It hardly happens where they're like, no, be more patient with him. Or no, raise it with him. Or no, at least try to love him from that position. Or no, maybe work on it together. It's hardly the case. The case is always chomu yahlanya, yeah, wara 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 wara, you know. And this person gives you advice on someone. It's either they've never met, it's a total stranger, or they are the stranger to the feeling you got when you were assured. So they are focused on addressing the fact that you are waked up now, not the fact that when this assurance happened, you felt safe, you felt good, you were assured, and you were like, let's move. They are focusing on what happened after. What happened after is they didn't pick up your call, or they were late for something, or they didn't stick to their weight on something that was perhaps, I don't know, a date or something. So that date gets to discredit the green flag of having to have someone assure you and say, I'm really serious about this. So you realize it's not even the deal breakers that break relationship actually. It's the mini things, the irritations that happen in the middle of the between. You know, just before we get to the actual deal breaker. So now you're punishing someone for not being consistent. Your understanding of consistent, because I got to question mine. And it was after having a dialogue with a friend, ne? And we were talking about quality time versus quantity time, if there's such. And that's why I was like, this consistency thing, is it really what I think for it? Is it really what I think of it to be? Inconsistency? Because my friend said to me, what do you want? Do you want quality time from this person? Or do you want quantity time? Quantity time is me texting you every day. Babe, I love you. These are things you know. These are things, I mean, if you are in a relationship, obviously you love me. You got to love me. I mean, I'm a good person. You have to love me. You're in a relationship with me, you see. These conversations like, how was your day? Like the basics, the general, you know. And then there's a guy who gives you quality time, who's like, I'm a very busy person. But when I show up for you, I'll show up. I will give you 4 hours of my time in a week, maybe, just to at least try and compensate for the time that I'm not going to be able to give you the quantity time of sending text every day. Right? Now, where do your values lie as a person? Would you rather have that? Because what I've seen is when you say you are giving me 4 hours of your time, we are on a call for 4 hours. Honey, we are not talking, how are you? How was your day? That maybe takes the first 15 minutes. For me, I saw that to be the most productive conversation, the most informative conversation, because we discuss a lot. We discussed a lot, things that are really beneficial to me as a human being, to my career. My perspective gets shifted on different things. You see, these are not conversations you have willy-nilly. Or these are things you pay for in a seminar. You buy a ticket for 200 rand to listen to a speaker saying these things, and here's someone giving you 4 hours of their time, and you are talking these things for free. But because it does not come in the package you wanted to come in, it's not every day, you dismiss it. But then when you look at it at hindsight, and you're like, Mara, what do I value? What do I want? Do I want you to text me every day, not tell me anything new, just ask how my day was? What did I eat? I tell you I have a massage. You send emojis of hands and say I should put the phone on my shoulders. Now you gave me a massage. And it's boring. You're not growing with that kind of person if that's all you talk about. And those are what we mean by quantity time. I'll text you with that. And then here's someone who will use a portion of the 4 hours to address all of that. Honey, we do it. We do that. But that's not all that there is to the relationship. After that, I know that my perspective on a certain project is shifted. You know, I was challenged. I grew from these things, you know, because them being able to take away those 4 hours of their time is them in a way showing you that I meant what I said. I am sticking to my word. So your problem is you are used to, or you are having examples around you of people sticking into their words in different ways than what you are getting. And you are forcing yourself to conform to norms. You are forcing this relationship dynamics to conform to what your friends have and what everyone has. You know, you should text every day. They should reply now. And at that time, with my scenario, the person is a horrible texter, number one. So for them to be able to dedicate that call, you understand it's a compromise. To say that, okay, fine, I'm not a social person, but I'll do this for you. 4 hours is a long time, guys. Ah, 4 hours, and sometimes it's not four, it's six. It was never less than four. But because I'm so used to seeing these things come in a different name, in different forms, it's mixed portions. You dismiss it. You're like, you are inconsistent. You have no time for me. And you are telling someone who's not used to being a texter anyway, and they've lived their whole lives not doing that, not texting, not having their social media. It's dull because they're not that, and they're trying to meet you halfway through this, and you dismiss it. You are still not satisfied. Will you ever be satisfied? Because those are the things I was told, that when you'll never be happy. And it was so offensive. I was like, you don't know what you're talking about. But it was because this person was trying. First of all, they are going out of character to try and meet you halfway. And you're failing to recognize that because they're not doing it in the way you wanted them to do it. And I remember recently, I think it was 2 days ago, coming across a YouTube couple. Follow them. You thought I was going to keep their name discreet, anonymous. No, I'm not that. It's Lerato and Petolo. Ne? And they spoke about something similar, and I was like, hey, I've been there, where Lerato is the guy. And he says that I felt like I was never going to be enough for this person. And I think that is where the issue of love languages comes into play. Because as women, one of the things that we do, and it's a very toxic trait, we understand ourselves very well. We know what we want. We know our love languages, but we force ourselves to love people according to our love languages. We never really ask, what does it mean for you? Ukuthi umuntu uyakuthanda. For someone to say they love you, what are some of the things, or in what way would you like that to be expressed? You use your love languages and you want someone to commit to it, and after that you want to impose that on them and love them that way. Yeah, Bolont. My love language may be quality time, maybe physical touch and whatever, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's theirs. Theirs may be gifting, theirs may be just, I don't know, texting once a week. These people are not social. There's maybe, I don't know, this and that and that, totally different from you. But how many ladies do ever come across who say, what's your love language? Tell me about that. And who also avail themselves to love you as a guy the way you want to be loved. I mean, ask yourself, are you here to benefit only yourself, or is it a synergy? Your understanding of a relationship, what is that? And with that, I want to bring in the issue of balance. I was talking to this friend of mine that I refuse to conform to the 50-50 way of balance. Balance for me can never be 50-50, especially because we are different people, different values, different strengths, different everything. And we want to make this work. Balance cannot be 50-50 because there are areas where I have a weakness on, and there are areas of strengths that I have, which you have a weakness on as my partner. So if I'm going to force 50-50, there will be areas of our relationship where someone has 10 and they're forced to look and compensate for that 40, which they're not. They're not having strengths in that department. So balance for me can also mean 10-90, 80-20, 70-30. It doesn't have to be 50-50. Because at the end of the day, we are looking to have a good relationship that will keep us sane, that will help us grow, that will get the best out of us. So why should I force someone to bring in an extra 40 when in this department they are a 10? And if I can bring 90, why not? Because we are not competing, Mos. And my friend Feather said it's not about who brings how many pieces to the puzzle. The aim here is to finish the puzzle and put in the missing pieces. You get what I mean? Regardless of when you brought 4 pieces, I brought 6. But at the end of the day, this is the picture we need to have from this puzzle. Let's put it. You see? So that is why also I speak about being led in a relationship. I don't mind being led. I would like to have a man that leads me, because I want a relationship where, with the balance concept that I'm telling you about, where we are able to have a balance in accordance to our strengths, not have a balance in accordance to 50-50. Sometimes I'm the one with the 10 and I have to battle. I'll never see myself enough and worthy and, pleasing you enough or enough for you if I'm constantly going to battle to get an extra 40 while I'm at 10. And you bring your 50 confidently, so you can even bring 70, you can even bring the 90 that's missing, but you're gonna stop at a 50 because you're expecting me to have that extra 40. So in the relationship that I want a man who's able to lead me. And in that, I'm not going to be like, I want to be oppressed. That doesn't mean I want to be inferior. I want to be a slave to him. I want to submit to him in a way that oppresses me. No. For me, when I say that, I want the type of leadership that inspires me to submit. I've seen this somewhere on Twitter. I just cannot quote it word to word. Where someone is saying that I'm not looking for someone to enslave me, but someone to lead me in a sense that it feels natural to submit. It doesn't feel like a task. It doesn't feel like you're a Monday. It doesn't feel like I'm betraying the feminist movement, But I actually want to. And that sort of relationship comes along with being consulted. You are not taken just as an object or whatever, you are being consulted. Okay, babe, this is what's happening. What do you think on, you also have your view shared, your view respected, your view taken to consideration. You also have yourself playing an active role, So take initiative as a man on different things. I don't have to be the one pitching things. I'm not here to be dynamite. I'm here to be your girlfriend. You understand? You are not here to be a businessman or whatever position you have or occupation you have. You are here to be my boyfriend. So in being that, lead, babes. I'll follow. Lead in accordance to your strength. I mean, I'm not going to force myself to do admin, knowing very well that I'm a public speaker, So for this business of ours, of the relationship, you do admin, handle it. Now I handle the speaking part of things. Maybe the admin I can handle for you, the portion, my 10 in the admin, while you take the 90, well, will be to sort out your files and put them in chronological order or whatever they call. That's my role there. Maybe your role in my public speaking would be to make notes for me, which I hardly have. Or to, I don't know, do something, just appear, hold the umbrella for me while I speak. You understand? It doesn't have to be 50-50. And people don't realize that we've got that dualism as females as well. I think I've been bashing females throughout. But then we've got that dualism. And I think it's Dino Ranaka who said something like that. That we know when to submit, we know when to be dominant. It's not that we don't know. It's just that we hardly come across people who allow us to, okay, let me put my guard down. Okay, now let me, let you lead. Okay, now let me be dominant. But part of us not having such people is that we are so quick to cut off. Because we know patterns. When you are hurt, when you've been hurt before, you don't want to be hurt again. And there's patterns that somehow look similar to the toxic relationship you left. And you're like, I'm not going to wait for you to reach step 8 when I can already see that step 1, 2, 3 looks exactly the same to step 1, 2, 3 that I left there. Where I got to step 8 and I saw, Chico, I was gone. I was finished. But that step 1, 2, 3 of the new relationship may just require you to be a little more patient. My friend in the phone call that I'm telling you about also said that learn to love people for who they are. That includes the imperfections. That includes when we say we love someone unconditionally, that comes also with understanding that I will love you even when you are not punctual. I will love you even when you are always late on dates, or the toilet seat is always up, or you just do something that irritates me. I will learn to love you with that thing, because it's not much of a deal breaker relative to the things that you are bringing that are positive, that are green flags to the table. And that, I think, is the healthy way of viewing things. I mean, what more? Because in you having, and this is not to say don't have standards, don't have whatever. No, have that, but be realistic. You are dealing with a human being, imperfect just like you. So adjustments need to be made in accordance to what you think is important. And that also include, because I thought I knew the concept until this quality time versus quantity time was presented. And I'm like, because I was like, yeah, me, I will adjust as long as you are consistent and wara wara. But what is your definition of inconsistency? And when we talk about time, do you want 1 minute of each hour where I'm asking you how your day is, or do you want something that's going to be beneficial to you? It's quality time that in the kuring, when you talk about other things, you also learn your girlfriend, your boyfriend through certain conversation, their opinions on certain conversation. They tell you a lot about them. But when you just want a morning text, a good night text, an evening text, a whatever text, and then you want to miss all of that. And for someone who says, I'm a busy person, I don't do social media. My Instagram has 2 posts. I'm not a WhatsApp person. But in this busy schedule, I will give you 6 hours and then we will talk about anything. It will be about you, Pela. I'm either that special, babes. Even if it's for 1 week, it's okay. For me, that's what I got to later realize that I flopped when I dismissed this person because of this. You know? So what's important? Are you gonna deem that as inconsistency?